May 7th.
All right, thank you. Are we all live here, Keisha?
Nope, I gotta unmute us.
Oh.
I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna mute them. Okay, everybody else, yep. Jake's on and we're on.
Okay, Jake, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. All right. All right, let's call this meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call, Jake.
Keisha Johnner,
Here.
Mark Ramey,
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here. Our agenda for these special meetings has been the impact of COVID-19 on Marion County operations. Is there a motion to approve our rolling agenda?
Make motion we approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
All right. For open session, just a couple of things to start off with. On Tuesday, we talked briefly about a couple of emails that went out. Again, to clarify those emails, first on the closure of 3014. It is not a closure to courthouse officers, courthouse staff who need to come out here and have interactions, let's say with HR or anybody else. It's just more of a limitation on public access to the building, very similar to what we're doing at East Elementary. So we're just trying to be judicious now that things are opening up about making sure that we regulate the number of people that come to this location. Second, on the furlough program, we talked about this on our Tuesday meeting. Furlough program was a targeted program intended to look at individual staff members that either self-selected by saying, hey, I don't have any work to do during this time and I feel kind of guilty just sitting in my office twiddling my thumbs, or some jobs that we saw as being essentially we don't need them right now during this crisis, so it's better for the employee and better for the taxpayer to take advantage of the furlough program. All of that was done in coordination with the employee. The math was done. Keisha and Lisa did an excellent job making sure that the employee was not financially harmed and the employee did not lose their health insurance and other benefits. So did an exceptional job with that. Whether we continue to do that is an open question. It looks like things are coming back online, so there may not be a lot of additional furloughs done. I know, Kim, you've had some folks ask about it within the public health world, but largely because they just don't have anything to do right now. They're just sitting over there with nothing to do. So if it helps them out with the things they've got going on in their life, it doesn't harm them financially, they keep their benefits. It certainly allows us to get some relief in our general fund financially, so it's not a bad deal all the way around. And again, Lisa and Keisha did an excellent job on that. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about that, clarified that for everybody. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me with those questions. We need to probably do a quick update on courthouse operations because I think that's the real reason why we're here this morning. So Keisha, do we have anything?
Well, other than if Michaela's on, if she can give us an update.
Michaela, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
How is the driver's license test going?
Actually, it's going really well. I think better than I would have actually anticipated. In fact, Andrew and I are starting to get emails from other counties who want to kind of model their reopening after ours.
Okay, so very good.
Well, we got overwhelmingly positive feedback from the public. They really like the scheduling system. They can, schedule their appointment just like they do a doctor's office appointment on their day off, around their lunch hour. They don't have to stand in line. Yeah, so far I'm really impressed with how it's going.
That's excellent. we've been able to control crowds okay, or numbers of people coming in and taking care of, kind of crowd control within the courthouse, keeping within our social distancing guidelines?
Yes, absolutely. You know, of course, right now, we still have limited appointments. That allows the girls time to, you know, we're still getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of questions, can be open, how do I do this? But that allows the girls time to, you know, make phone calls back and advice between each appointment.
Okay.
All right. We talked on Tuesday briefly during our last board meeting. I know we've had discussions about opening up more departments, opening up the courthouse more. I think we'll probably let Michaela continue to be the guinea pig on this, and it sounds like that's going very well. And I think waiting until we see what the governor's order is on the 15th makes some sense to see what we do with other departments, other operations. I don't think that means we can't do by appointment only, and start thinking about that. Keisha, have you had discussions on that?
Well, we talked a little bit last with Karen, and Karen, when we spoke, we talked about maybe with appointments. Where are you at in regards to that?
We will do appointments only for passports, but at this time, passports are not an option. They're not doing them nationwide,
Okay.
so everything is still on hold. They're only doing it at the centers in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in New Orleans, only on appointment basis if it's a medical emergency. So it's not an option for us to do that yet.
Okay.
Space that we have right now really is not going to work for passports, so we're looking into the possibility of finding someplace else within our building. Passports, the little room that we have right now, it's not private. So
Okay.
we will probably use that for abstractors when they are allowed in by appointment only.
So are you doing any appointments at all for people that want to, I mean, have you tested that maybe, and even regarding with Andrew, appointments and scheduling that if people wanted to record by appointment?
Recording is going great. We're doing e-submissions and by mail so far, so I don't see a need to open that up just yet.
Okay.
That's how most of our recording comes anyway.
Okay.
Is international travel even an option right now?
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Karen.
Oh, I thought Steve had a question.
No, I was just asking if international travel was even an option right now.
We do have people that are calling every week to find out when they can get passports. I don't know where they would want to go,
Yeah.
But apparently they do.
Okay.
So when that's opened up, we will do the appointments only and get that scheduled. But for now, this isn't even a
Okay.
Karen,
birth certificates and marriage certificates for people who need driver's license. We have done those every day. They come to the door and we take their application, their money, and get their records for them.
Okay.
Karen,
Yes?
didn't you and Chris talk about maybe that far room across from where Ed is going to make a staging area B? Didn't you guys talk about maybe making a little area in that room for passports in the future?
It was Jacob that talked about that. Chris is on vacation, so I haven't talked to him about it.
Okay.
He does know that I'm looking for something else, but we
Okay.
haven't come up with. But yes, Jake and I did talk about that, and that's an option.
All right.
Okay.
So
Yes.
right now, Karen, what I'm hearing is you're doing fine with online, by mail, don't need to really open up yet.
Right.
So, okay. Jake, what about your group?
So we are open for the in-person absentee voting. Those numbers are low. I think we've only had a half a dozen in the week in open. So from a control standpoint, things are fine. We don't really have a whole lot of people in just out of curiosity either, which is good. That was one of our worries. So I don't think we have anybody roaming around the building for that standpoint. So I think that West door has been going pretty good right now, especially with people are really interested in the driver's license side, and that's where they want to go. So our control has been okay. Our mail is crazy with absentee voting, but the in-person thing seems to be just fine. So people across the street don't seem to mind our temporary handicap sign and have been respecting that very well. Actually, one of them came over and voted. So
Great.
as far as I know, that aspect is okay.
Okay, good. Missy, what about for you? Oh,
I mean, I've been doing everything online. I've had a few people call in and I've done a few appointments that they call, or I meet them at the door to get paperwork. Everything pretty much for me is going as it would anyway. So thank gosh for the online abilities we have. So very busy. 2 more meetings scheduled via Teams meetings. Thank you to Andrew for helping me out on the 19th. So yeah.
Okay,
Good.
great. Is Kelly there, the assessor?
Kelly, are you there?
Yes.
How are you doing? Are you needing, any scheduling for appointment wise?
No, we've had all the building permits rolling in, and Missy can attest to it. We have, at least for the county, we have at least 30-some more at this point this year than we did last year. So we're gonna have lots of field work coming up, but we just haven't started it yet. But we're still in the midst of our protest period. The state has extended that. We had our meeting with the Board of Review on May 1st for Iowa Code, and we did that just as a phone conference. The board does want to meet the next time in person, so I'm gonna have to find a room where we can all meet. We have room technically in our office to do that, we just don't have a table for them to do that, but I figured that might suffice. What?
Okay.
Well, we haven't set the date yet. Okay, do that, like Ed said. We only have 3 petitions right now, and 2 of those want oral hearings. My Board of Review does not like to do oral hearings over the phone. They don't think that they get as much information or can ask as many questions. So, if we do have those in-person meetings, we're still gonna be, less than 10 people. So I think that's probably the route they're gonna wanna take, but we haven't set the date for that yet. We're just waiting to see if we have any more petitions filter in. But right now we've got lots of stuff to do in the office anyway, during this downtime and before we start doing our field work, which typically we don't start doing that until later summer, early fall anyway, so we don't have to make repeated visits to properties, just one and done kind of thing. So that's where we are.
Okay, thank you. Ed, do you have anything? I know that courts haven't opened up, but is there anything that I didn't know in regards to scheduling anything there? If they've even payments for Chrissy and
relative or not, courts have opened up from the perspective, yesterday, we did probably 7 court hearings in the courtroom. We had the Department of Human Services appeared in person because one of them, unfortunately, that we had to do yesterday was a termination of parental rights, so I needed to have a live witness. The Supreme Court yesterday adopted a task force to talk about juries and how civil jury trials are supposed to start in August. Criminally, there's going to start in July, but the Supreme Court has recognized that not a single building by Clayton County attorneys that I've talked to, none of us have the ability to do social distancing in a jury box or a jury deliberation room. So there's some real concerns about if this whole 6-foot social distancing continues. there just isn't a conceivable way. For example, we're doing jury selection, and I have to bring in 75 people for an average jury. We're not going to be able to do that. Whether or not we were here at East Elementary, or whether or not, quite honestly, we were in the historic courthouse, that just isn't gonna be feasible in a timely way. So I think they're gonna put together a task force. To that end, I will say this, Keisha. When all of this started, we continued in mass all of our court hearings. They all were continued to next week. So on Monday, as I was talking to Andrew, we're talking about getting our waiting areas, and our computers were delivered today. Hopefully someone from maintenance can help us get them installed tomorrow, and we can start using that software. I don't know whether or not anyone is actually going to show up on Monday who has a court hearing. Surprisingly, I've been averaging about 5 members of the public on a Monday. I think we're scheduled for more like 25 or 30 this coming Monday. So I don't know whether or not that means we're gonna have 8 people show up or 25. The public seems to be more interested, quite candidly, than attorneys are about starting to get back to work and showing up and doing things. But I think that, quite honestly, a week from now, depending on what the Supreme Court does, and I know the governor, from one of the internal emails that I got, is really struggling with how we open court, let's say in a county that haven't had a single case ever, versus how Polk County and Dallas County does it. And can we really have 99 different models for how court's gonna happen?
Right.
What I'm hopeful today is that the people in this room, when we get off this meeting, we're gonna sit down and have a conversation. Steve and I talked about signage is probably the biggest problem in the courthouse right now. And until we can get something over to Emil, hopefully, what Steve asked me to do is to all of us get together that are in this room and try to figure out what does the signage need to look at like, and where does it need to be. And so hopefully we'll have a recommendation to Steve later this morning, maybe even, about that. And hopefully maintenance and Mr. Emil can get those signs made, and we can get that taken care of. I think that's really the logical step before we open up additional spaces to get the signage right here. And just being mindful of how many different entrances do we want to sign? How do we have our handicap signs? You know, because if you're disabled, depending on which office you go to, depends on where you park. And I think it would be very problematic to have a disabled person come in one door and then have to go back out, get back in their car and drive around. So really trying to think those issues through proactively on the front end, so we don't have to fix them down the road.
Okay, yeah. Ed, in regards to collections, is that all put on hold still too, or do they have a date that they're looking at opening that back up?
Well, we've been doing our collection hearings every Wednesday. For people who will show up, we will still accept their money.
Okay.
The reality is, until such time as the DOT opens up the actual physical driving test, because most of the people I deal with, that the reason why they want to pay their bills is because they need to get their driver's license. Well, unfortunately, most of my folks haven't had a driver's license for more than a year, which then triggers, as Michaela told me, they actually have to physically take a driving test. And I think the only place they can do that is in Ankeny, and those people are wearing the full hazmat suits. They're getting into people's cars. And so there's just so many they can do, because there's just so many hazard suits, like the full, like I'm going to a nuclear war plant area that they can actually put on. So to answer your question, I just got the numbers last night. We collected $36,000 in the month of April still,
Okay.
even with all of this going on. So numbers are down about 35%. I would have hoped to have been more in the $50,000 to $60,000 range for April. Usually it's a huge month for us because of tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
But Wednesday morning, we're open for business to take people's money, and a lot of people, quite honestly, it's a catch-22. We're getting a lot of people who want to use their stimulus money to pay off their debts from the court so they can get their driver's license. So we've been working that angle and we're taking quite a few $1,200 down payments on their total debts owed. Now, to answer your question, garnishments, enforcement of garnishments, that's a real gray area right now, and it's causing a lot of problems across the state, because there was some confusion about, can you garnish? What does that mean? For a garnishment that's already enforced and the employer has collected money off the paycheck and mailed it to us, do we have to return it? Those type of issues we've been working through, but I'm hopeful, as more people feel comfortable going outside, I would assume, once Michaela and the law enforcement starts digging people for having expired license and not having tags, and we'll get back to business rolling. I would assume in the next 2 weeks, though, that will pick up as well. It looks to me like we'll have a phase in, according to the person I talked to in the governor's office, the 15th, and then quite honestly, the last phase is going to be May 29th.
Okay, so to me, the key would be the signage. We need to probably work through this for next week, depending upon what the governor says the 15th for the courthouse, correct?
Correct.
And then also brings up, and we don't have to do anything about it right away, but with Michaela and the DOT side of things, those that, once DOT gives the okay in regards to those to have to drive again with somebody, what's that going to entail?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yep.
Hey Ed, while everybody's on there, when your group gets together about these signs, just keep in mind and try to make it work. It doesn't necessarily have to be an aluminum sign that Emil has to make. It could be some type of printed sign. And I mean, we have large format printers.
Right, the
So,
Brian could
and
help,
we could maybe laminate some stuff. So keep that in mind on what that's going to look like.
Well, and just to be clear, and I'll defer back to Michaela here in a second to answer the DOT question, but I'm not implying in any way what the signs are made out of and what they look like. I just think we need to talk about what they say, and then it's up to the people who actually make signs to tell us how we're gonna do that. I think that probably on the outside of the building, those signs look different than the ones that are on the inside.
Correct. That's why I'm saying keep that in mind on what it is we're really wanting.
him take charge.
And that being said, while everybody's here, we're looking at painting some lines on that northeast parking lot where you guys are all currently parking. That way we can more well define on what that parking area is going to be. I mean, it's not going to be a separate stall line for every car, but it'll be probably a series of long lines, and you guys will have to figure out how to get in there and park. But we'll define that a little better, but that'll have to be done on a weekend when there's no cars out there.
On that Saturday.
Is it? Oh, I guess I just been told they were planning on that Saturday.
Okay. Good. Anything else, Keisha, on that?
Well,
Steve, I would just say, I go back to what we talked about. I do think we need a judge and a court reporter for stalls that are defined.
Yeah, well, it probably won't be defined as such. It may be defined as reserved. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, I would rather my district court judge, when they actually show up again, there was sarcasm there, that they don't have to walk around the building before I have to present an argument.
And we talked
But
about
I know that
4 spots, right?
wanted to
Ed? We talked about 4
Yes, sir.
spots, right?
I'm sorry, say again, sir?
We talked about 4 spots that needed to be reserved for the judges and court reporters, right?
Yes, 4 stalls, yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Steve, can you be in charge of the signage? Meaning like, what's
Well, I'm
gonna
gonna wait and
be?
see what their recommendation is.
Right,
Then I'll let you
but
know if I'm in charge of it.
such a brat.
All right. Very good.
Yeah, no
So-
problem, no problem, Keith.
There was a question on DOT.
It's just, he said something about Michaela wanted to respond to that.
Michaela, did you have something you wanted to respond to on DOT?
I do. I wanted to talk about the drive exams for a minute.
Okay,
And what a challenge those are for my office, and it's something I've kind of looked at since I took over, because, you know, there is a certain level of, safety and liability involved with those in the first place. When you have one solitary employee that gets into a vehicle with a complete stranger, a lot of them not even from Marion County, and you go on a 15 to 20-minute drive with this individual that you do not know, and now you kind of throw the coronavirus on top of that, kind of adds another level, another layer of safety that we need to consider. Obviously, we're not the only one thinking about this. All counties are thinking and talking, and the DOT at this point, they're trying to brainstorm and come up with some guidelines to revise this procedure to make it safer for our employees, and we're just not there yet. I don't foresee starting drives before June 1st, and I definitely don't foresee starting drives until we have some serious guidelines in place that do keep our employees safe when they get into the car with somebody.
yeah, this is, Michaela, I all very good points. Do we have to do this? Is this something we're required to do, or can we contract this service to somebody else?
We do, in order to be a drive examiner, there is an extra thick layer of training that you have to take from the DOT to be certified. And that is a service that if you have a driver's license station, the counties are required to offer, because we do have residents like Ed's customers that they need those reinstatements. New medical homes. So we have a lot of elderly individuals that maybe have vision or mental incapacity that require us to test them and make sure that they're safe to be out on the road. And, you know, that's a service we wouldn't want to send someone to Ankeny for in that situation.
Okay.
You know, when we're able for that locally. So, you know, a lot to think about, a lot to try and figure out before we reinstate that service, though.
Yeah, okay, appreciate the update. Anybody else, courthouse or other operations, have an update or anything they want to discuss?
Hey, Mark, I could give you an update from the county park perspective.
Yeah, very good, Steve, thank you, go ahead.
As you probably know, the governor late yesterday afternoon indicated that campgrounds, both private and public, could open if they so desire or are ready to do that.
Okay.
This took a lot of county boards by surprise yesterday, because everybody statewide that I've talked to is gearing for a week from tomorrow to open up. So, and that's what we've basically been telling everybody, and everybody's geared for that. And I just had a staff meeting here this morning, and trying to logistically turn it on in 24 hours is really a tough job. Turning the juice on, turning the water on, all that stuff. We don't have our campground host in place. We don't have our conservation summer aids in place to help us with the cleaning aspect, which is going to be a big deal for us. We want to make sure that all of our facilities are cleaned at least once a day, if not twice a day. And that puts a lot of pressure on the existing staff right now. So we're going to open as normal a week from tomorrow. We just logistically can't turn it around that fast. And all of our reservations up until that point have been canceled already. And so it would all be first come, first serve type people. But we've ordered signs so that we can encourage social distancing, as well as no more than 10 people at a campsite. We'd like to keep, our policy actually says 6, but we know that if you have a bigger family, you're going to have more than 6. So again, trying to do the social distancing, no more than 10, just like our shelter houses and playgrounds and bathrooms, those things, we wanted to get those signed to give people information, you know, if and when the governor says she's going to take restrictions off, say like a playground, we would still have a sign posted, no more than 10, please. So, yeah, I think statewide, most of the county boards are gonna shoot for a week from tomorrow to open their campgrounds. Now, the Corps of Engineers here locally, as far as I know, they're shooting for June 1st.
Right.
That hasn't changed. And then, like I say, once we get our other staff in place and then our campground host, the cleaning aspect would be a lot easier for us. But we were just really surprised that the governor turned around and said, yeah, go ahead and open up. It's just not that simple to turn it around.
Yeah. No, I wondered how you guys were gonna respond to that. So I think that's totally reasonable, Steve, to give yourself some time and
Be prepared.
make sure you're ready for an open. So
Yeah, exactly.
So the date then will be, what's the exact date then?
It will be next Friday, the 15th.
Okay.
At 8 a.m. We're gonna open the gates. That'll give us next week to get everything prepped, cleaned, disinfected, and ready to go.
So I do wanna, Steve, anything else from your perspective?
Not that I can think of right now. No, like I say, we've given out a bunch of information telling everybody the 15th was when we were gonna open, and that's kind of, I think, what most people are geared for.
Okay. So, yeah, you raise a kind of a broader issue, Steve, that as we do enter this reopening phase, all of you, all of your respective audience or offices and audiences, make sure that your websites are updated with how you function and those types of things. Make sure our county website's updated, because if we get an order dropped on us, like what happened to conservation, where on the 15th, the governor says, hey, I think all courthouses can reopen. I don't see why they're closed. The expectation of the public's gonna be, well, we're just back to normal operations, but we're not. And I don't think it's reasonable to get there. So just make sure to keep those things updated. I think the signage question, Ed, is very appropriate, but also maybe with something on the door that explains how we function within the building. I don't know if we have anything posted like that right now, Steve, but.
Is anything on that front?
We have numerous signs posted on the doors that indicate which offices are currently open, which ones are not, what are the phone numbers for every one of the offices that are currently closed.
Okay.
Those are on both doors currently.
Okay, good. But just keep your heads, stay apprised of your public information, how you've got that posted, just like what happened to Steve's group. It could be somebody speaks from a podium and says, hey, I think y'all should open tomorrow. And that puts a little bit of a burden on us to communicate publicly on how we can do that, and if that's even appropriate. So, anything else we need to talk about?
Mark, I'm just curious, should we go through HR for that? Website updates and those type of things, since I don't know that the person who normally does that is at work currently.
Yeah, they're to go through Andrew.
I think we've got that set up to go through one of the Andrews. Which one?
A1 is overseeing that at this point.
Yes. And I'll do my best. I mean, timely requests are gonna be harder to do, as we're also very busy working on projects, but, so that the more time you can give me to update the site, the better, obviously. But yeah, it's consuming a significant amount of my time right now.
All right.
And Steve, you certainly send your information to me and we can get it on the redrockarea.com for the tourism information.
Okay, I can do that.
Very good. All right, anything else? Guys, anything on the facility side?
That's Jason.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Jason?
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yep.
Hey, I just wanted a real quick update. We had a management meeting yesterday. We were kind of talking about opening up Monday. Andrew came out, in regards to the appointments, that side of things. We're actually at the management meeting yesterday. We decided to wait one more week. So it'll be the 18th when we start doing that. So I just want you guys to be aware that it will be 1 week longer on that. We wanted to kind of see how Michaela's thing came out there, so just a heads up on that.
Okay, appreciate the update, Jason, thank you. All right, anybody else, any updates that we missed? It's a little different looking at the board here, trying to make sure we've addressed all the
Do
issues.
we want to consider, having another one of these next week?
Yeah, I think, like we talked about, I think once a week until we get back to some level of normalcy, whatever that is. It'd just be good to touch base. If it's 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes, that's okay. But, we'll plan on another one next Thursday.
Next Thursday, the 14th.
Same time. If any issues come up between now and then, of course, get a hold of one of us, and we will address those things. So anything else before we wrap up for today? All right, hearing none, seeing none. We need to put like in Jeopardy where you put like you can thumb in. Can you do that? I think it'd be fun to see him light up. Like Steve could light up around the edges here.
Oh, goodness, right.
Like the Jeopardy sound.
All right, very good.
Appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Anything else for open?
Nothing.
Steve?
Well, I think, Gritter's got our, backup generator all in place yesterday. I think now all we're waiting on is the fuel system. So I don't know where that's at, cause I wasn't part of the fuel system,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Okay, good. Very good. Keisha, anything for you?
No.
All right. If there, anything for closed?
I don't have anything for close.
Steve, anything?
I don't believe so.
All right, with that.
Other
Oh.
than Jake, so next Tuesday we have our regular meeting, and then next Thursday we'll want to post that. So,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I'll plan the Zooms. I'll send that out. So,
Okay.
Are we having
I do not have a lot of items for the next Tuesday's meeting yet at this point, so.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Jake. Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion we adjourn.
Second?
Amy,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
thanks, guys.